Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So today we have Alliance Quest Season 7 mid-season update. So for those of you who are in a huge rush, basically they're still leaving Doom as a final boss. They are swapping out some of the mini bosses based on which maps you're at, and there are gonna be new Alliance Quest modifiers that are harder, and we're gonna have more rewards as a result of that due to the increase in modifier difficulty. There is no actual Alliance Quest reward rehash, as in we still have the same top milestone bonuses, we still have the same rank rewards. The only thing that is changing is the modifier bit, which previously if you played on the hardest modifiers the entire week, you got 5,400 tier 5 basic fragments maximum, and now it's going to go up quite significantly, but the rank rewards and the top milestones are not changing. So for those of you who are here to actually read, or not read through, but kind of like go through the changes with me, let's get to it. Then map 2, I'm not going to read all the nodes, but basically Hell and Cull Obsidians are out. Namor will be joined by Colossus and Old Man Logan as a possible mini-bosses. So it's gonna, map 2 is kind of like a mutant mini-boss map, where you're gonna have Namor, Colossus and Old Man Logan. In map 3, Goodbye Proxima, Midnight and Gamora. They're bringing in Elza Bloodstone and Hulkbuster, who are definitely harder, because both of these champions you kind of need to be prepared for, especially Hulkbuster now, because Hulkbuster basically will inflict shock on the champions. So I think it's quite safe to say that map 3 mini bosses just got a whole lot harder. In map 4, Man-Thing and Mole-Man join Silver Surfer's mini bosses, replacing Horus Glaive and Ronin. So again, Man-Thing again is a specific mini boss that you need a specific counter for, because you need either poison immunity or immunity to armor break or something of the sort. So even map 4 you gonna have to be ready for it, and that's kind of like the new meta of the champions. Now I'm not gonna read all of the nodes for the lower maps. I will however start reading the nodes on map 5, because Guillotine 2099, they're placing Red Skull as a mini boss, and so it means your mini boss are gonna be Human Torch, which is arguably the one mini boss everybody's complaining about, Mr. Fantastic, and now Guillotine 99. And Guillotine 99 is a really tough defender. She really is one of the problem defenders who consistently get kills even high tier Alliance Wars. And she's also combined with quite specific nodes. So first and foremost, combo up 3 every 0.2 seconds. So 5 times in a second. The defender's combo meter increases by 1 if the attacker performs an intercept. This timer is paused for 15 seconds. But here is a problem: when you're intercepting Guillotine 2099, that's not the only thing you have to worry about, obviously, because she can also go invisible and cause for you to miss. And she's definitely not the champion you want to be playing off against like freely, especially considering that each blocked attack reduces block proficiency by 6% up to maximum of 80% reduction. So Guillotine again is one of those champions that you want to parry quite frequently, just to drop your heavy attacks, just to disable that digi cloak so you can actually attack safely. So you're going to be taking a lot of block damage, and you're going to be kind of like forced in a situation where you have to intercept, because if you do not intercept, think about it. 5 combo meters in 5 combos in a second means in 10 seconds it's going to be 50. In 20 seconds, so within first 20 seconds of the fight, she's already going to be at 100 combo, where she has reached maximum attack increase. Then within a minute she's going to be at combo 300, and then obviously if she's going to hit you once, you're done. So I think that is going to be very, very tricky fight. She obviously has the combo shield as well, where her combo can never be reset. She has the heal, where again you have to parry her to disable the heal, and that is going to be very painful. So I'm not a fan of this one. I know I'm not playing map 5, but just by kind of like reading the abilities, it definitely doesn't seem a fight that I would want to fight. It sounds quite dreadful, it sounds quite stressful, especially I can imagine looking at this combo kind of like tick 5 times in a second, it's going to be like really quick, and it's going to be like very stressful, I think. So yeah, no, I'm definitely not a fan of Guillotine 2099 design here, and Guillotine 2099 being placed as a champion for defense. But again, maybe, what do I know? I don't play map 5. Map 6. Invisible Woman and the Human Torch welcome Vision Arcus as a new mini-boss. So again, Vision Arcus is once more a very, very specific defender that needs a very specific counter for. And let's see what kind of abilities he has. So he has Personal Space, where he's going to be gaining a lot of Furies. Arc Overlord, so he's going to be regening quite a bit. An Aspect of Genesis, where you kind of have to play keep away for him once in a fight. When he's below 15%, he's going to try and regenerate, and if you're close by, then he's going to degenerate you. So this fight could potentially be alright. Like, this fight, in my opinion, pretty much Doom has written all over it. Doom is just going to absolutely shred this guy, because he's going to benefit from Vision Arcus gaining those Fury buffs, because he can nullify them and feed the Mystic Dispersion. His armor cannot be broken, so he's not going to take the cold snap damage. He's going to nullify the Arc Overlord, and he should have like a really great control over it. But yeah, other than that, it still seems like a very, very tricky fight. Map 7, however, Annihilus and Thing welcomes Sasquatch as a newcomer to the contest, the third mini-boss, replacing Omega Red. So Omega Red is out, and Omega Red is arguably the one mini-boss that I actually liked in map 7, so I wish they would replace Thing. Thing also gets an update to the mini-boss buffs to reward skilled play and not just require 1 or 2 champions to beat him. But that update is still questionable. We're gonna have to play through it. So anyway, Sasquatch, delayed reaction. Whenever defending Sasquatch is knocked down, his chance to enter Wrath of Fenrak is reduced by a flat 10% until max stacks of Rage. So that is positive. That is the kind of node you want to see, because it's actually helpful for the attacker. As long as you can keep knocking him down, you can kind of slow down and lessen his chances into entering his like mega OP mode. Now, Power Snack 1. Every 7 seconds, the next buff triggered by the attacker is immediately nullified, and each of these triggers, a defender gains 25% of a bar of power. So this is kind of the node that we saw on Tigra, basically. It doesn't sound too bad in itself, but knowing that Sasquatch will have hugely increased combat power rate, it could potentially be problematic, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. And lastly, he has backup recovery, which is fair enough. It's always annoying, one of those things you forget about, but it's nothing too crazy. And unblockable, all the defender's special attacks are unblockable. Now that could be a problem, because obviously Sasquatch is designed to throw a million special attacks. Additionally to the fact we haven't seen his special attacks, and if they are kind of like very tricky to dodge or very huge range like Tigra has, that could be a problem if you cannot block any of them. But this fight, I'm not gonna like comment on it too much. It sounds doable, it sounds reasonable, but we obviously haven't seen the Sasquatch's animations, and I'm gonna reserve my judgment to when we actually get to it. Now the Thing mini boss changes, enhanced special 1, that's fine, that's not a big deal. Kinetic Transference, blocked attacks cause defender to gain 10% power. This is annoying on Thing, but also at the same time kind of helpful, I guess, because you quite often end up hitting things blocked to push him past bars of power or to give him the amount of rock stacks that you need. So I think this node could kind of work quite well if used properly, but it's going to take a bit of adjusting. Now, Footloose, after activating a special attack, defender becomes unstoppable and has 25% chance to avoid incoming attacks. So this pretty much has slow written all over it, because, well, first of all, it's Thing. Therefore, you ideally want some champion that deals with unstoppable anyways. But yeah, Footloose, I don't know, not my favorite node, doesn't sound too bad. Now, Do Not Go Gentle, I think is a rubbish addition here, to be honest. Because realistically, when you can how to deal with a stacked Thing, the go-to strategy for players, and I cannot believe that Kabam missed this one. The go-to strategy for players will be quite simply take off 99% of the Thing mini-boss, ignore Do Not Go Gentle, die because of it, or time out because of it, and then just go in with whoever and hit the Thing once. So that is immediately what I would do, because Do Not Go Gentle is a very hard node to accommodate in a fight. and especially fighting somebody like Thing that's extremely stacked and there's a huge like block damage. So my personal kind of like thought process immediately would be, I'd just bring in whoever is able to deal with the fight, ignore Do Not Go Gentle, and then I would either die on purpose or simply pause. Likely I would pause and time out the fight, go back in with whoever and just hit the Thing once to finish off the fight. And yeah, I don't think this is a good node. I don't think it's a smart placement, and I think it's just going to serve as an annoying thing. Because if you're going to consistently keep worrying about this node, trying to get your heavy attacks in, trying to get your intercepts in, you're going to end up taking a lot more block damage. There's going to be a lot more room for error. And it's clearly that kind of like the easiest, the best strategy here is just, yeah, ignore Do Not Go Gentle till the very end, go for a timeout, go back in, finish the fight. So that kind of, in my opinion, defeats the purpose of the changes that Kabam has been talking about in the game overall, and specifically for AQ, where people timing out is a problem. But this node does nothing else other than encourage you to time out. So yeah, I think, however, this is like an honest error, like, because again, it's not a big deal just timing out with somebody and then losing half your health and then just finishing the fight. I think it's just like a mistake Kabam has made. I hope they change this node to something else, because I think node itself is super annoying and there's like literally in AQ no reason not to simply time out. Anyways, map updates. A couple of map updates are also coming your way. Map 5 AI has been updated to be less passive, which is going to be huge news for everybody that obviously complain about map 5 AI, and there have been many people. And we also have map Magneto, map 7 All or Nothing node has had Energize toned down from 200% to 100%. That is also definitely helpful. Now, Epic Modifiers, and this is going to be where it's going to turn interesting, guys, because these nodes, some of them sound alright, some of them sound tricky, and some of them sound just like counterproductive and making AQ worse. But anyways, I'm going to let you judge for yourselves. I did read through them twice already. I'm still kind of like processing them, and they are interesting nodes, but I don't know whether they are something I would want to deal with at 7 a.m. when I wake up in the morning to do my Alliance quest line, and then I would also have to deal with this stuff. It doesn't sound... It would be fine in a quest or a challenge or a boss rush, but I don't think that adding these nodes in a daily content where these fights are going to be something you do the last thing before you go to bed or first thing when you wake up or quickly on your like lunch break or smoke break at work, that these are exactly kind of like perfect nodes to think about. Anyway, so for those alliances that have mastered map 6 but are not ready to move on or want to challenge the limits of the difficulty of map 7, we're introducing 5 new epic modifiers that you can use in your alliance if your alliance wishes. So power to cover. For every hit on the attacker's combo meter, the defender's power gain is increased by 1.5%. and their special attack cost is decreased by 1.5% up to 75% of each. When the attacker uses special attack 3, their combo meter is reset. Plus ISO infused, they will also gain 50% attack and health increase. Now this fight is quite simple. How as little hits on your combo meter as possible when you try to finish the fight or go for your level 3s. Now again, this one's okay, I guess. Like obviously opponents having special attack cost decreased and their power gain increased will very quickly lead up to them throwing a lot of special attacks. I would actually love to have a chance to test them out and see how it looks in the fight. For some fights it actually might be useful, but again, when you put these globals on Dr. Doom or Thing mini boss, I don't think it's kind of like viable. Because yeah, if you have 75% cost reduction from a special attack, and if you have 75% increase in power gain rate going up against the mini boss Thing, I don't think it's going to be like really good time. And also consider that for an average champion, even to reach level 3 is typically like, what, 28 hits, 25 hits, 30 hits, depends on champion. So they're gonna have like a significant power increase along the way. So this sounds something I'm suspicious of at the very least. But this definitely sounds like something that encourages using Quake. I'll tell you that much. Okay, Cascading Failure. Critical hits against the defender trigger a timer for 2 seconds. While the timer is active, additional critical hits inflict debuffs on the attacker in order of heal block, armor break, weakness, exhaustion, and then passive degeneration, each for 4 seconds. And refresh the timer and debuffs. Plus, obviously, ice infused 50% attack and health. Now, this one, again, it would be perfectly fine in a quest where I have to deal with it or prepare it. Whether this is a node that I want to fight against daily, I don't think so. I mean, its design, it's quite alright, it's quite fine. Because you have ways to work around it with like any champion. You can just, for instance, even with Corvus, you can just parry, hit them, back away and do like 1 hit. But again, I think it would serve much more as like a frustration. So, I don't know. Again, we're gonna have to live and work through them. I'm not sold on these new buffs at all. I think this buff also could have been made a lot more interesting if it didn't apply heal block at start, but it applied heal block as like 2nd or 3rd debuff. So that would kind of like give you a chance to trigger it on purpose to have some willpower heal, but also at the same time knowing that if you trigger another debuff, the 2nd debuff for instance could be heal block, that would offer you that interesting kind of like balance where you can benefit from it if you play skillfully. But obviously if you get carried away or if you make a mistake and crit twice, then you get heal blocked and then there is no upside to it and then it gets punishing. So I don't know, I would rather prefer the heal block to come 2nd, so there would be still a way for a player to actually benefit from this node and there would be upside that would reward kind of like a skillful play. Dancing on that edge in between the 1-2 crits when you need, but starting off with the heal block, thus shutting off any possible willpower heal for any of the other debuffs that are coming, just doesn't seem too amazing. Okay, Turn the Tide. One of the attacker's special attacks is randomly chosen at the start of the fight. The chosen special attack rotates every 10 seconds or when the attacker ends a combo with an attack that didn't end their previous combo. The attacker's special attacks suffer 100% ability accuracy and 90% weakness unless it's the chosen special attack. So again, this node is interesting. I don't have any inherent problems with it. I'm not necessarily certain whether it's something I want to deal with every week in a queue when I wake up or when I go to bed, but it definitely does look like quite an interesting node and arguably the one I would object about the least, because yeah, you kind of have to pay a lot of attention where your power bar is, which special attack you need to throw, which you shouldn't throw, or just kind of like, I don't know, refuse throwing special attacks altogether, or build to level 3 and wait till special 3 gets designated. Plus there is a way how to manually switch them, so there's quite a lot of going on that node and how you can play around them. Yeah, this is the one that again would have to kind of like test how annoying it is to live with it kind of like daily. Okay, so say a Doom. If the attacker is not Fantastic Four, 2 of the following actions are randomly chosen every 17 seconds. Intercept the defender, debuff the defender, use special attack, and dodge an attack. Failure to perform the actions in time will debuff the attacker for the next 3 fights. The debuffs are inflicted in the order of heal block, armor break, weakness, fatigue, and concussion. Again, the fact that you start with a heal block is very, very annoying because under this node, effectively, you need to play perfectly or you can't run Suicide Masteries for most part, because if you get heal blocked and you have Suicide Masteries, you're going to be taking a lot of damage. So I do not like that aspect, again, at all whatsoever. I'd much rather have that heal block moved a little bit further, because then again, you could miss some of these things on purpose, for instance, in exchange for, like, I don't know, a big weakness debuff that does make the fights longer and harder, but also offers you a chance to heal up a bit. But then if you mess up again, then you get heal blocked and then you have no upside off it. Additionally, Fantastic Four, I think outside of Thing, which is occasionally used for like can't stop, won't stop nodes and maybe some shock lines, none of the Fantastic Four champions are actually getting used in AQ. And lastly, I know this node is fantastic. It's a great node because it's basically a direct kind of like reference link to the Grandmaster fight. And everybody loves Grandmaster fight. But again, there is a difference. A Grandmaster fight is like a special event. It's a quest boss where you go in mentally prepared. Question is whether I will want to pay attention and be as agile and be on edge and do all of these things in the morning when I wake up, in the evening when I go to bed, and do it frequently every week. And so I think a lot of these nodes are great. They would be much better suited either for a boss rush, maybe some of them for AW, but not for a queue where typically it's a chore that you have to do for your alliance. And again, I generally don't want to sound negative because I like these node designs. I think this is a big step, huge step forward from designing deal 90% less damage unless or this and that, or the stars and moon align in certain angle. These nodes are a great design nodes overall. All of them are interesting. Again, my few comments, maybe moving heal block along the way would be super helpful and actually make them rewarding at the times. But the point being is that these are AQ nodes that you have to live with all the time. I just don't know whether it's the place for it. I like the nodes. I don't think I would like to have them consistently every week in AQ. And last one, Parry Curse. Whenever the attacker stands a defender, the duration of their future stun debuff is reduced by 25% to a maximum of 100% for the next 3 fights. This will not re-trigger during those 3 fights. And obviously attack and health increase. Now this node I just don't like, flat out don't like, because it just, yeah, prevents you from parrying, punishes you for parrying, and that's it. So there's nothing about this one that I like. I think it's quite annoying. Yeah, just forcing block damage upon people. No, this last one, it's very lazy and shitty design. And also the fact that it's going to punish you for future fights is, I think, even more messed up. So yeah, this node sucks. But the worst bit is, not the worst bit, but obviously the automatic bit is, if you're playing Map 7 Alliance, you have no choice but to run these. Because everybody else is going to be, and if you want to rank competitively, you do not have a choice. This is a mandatory thing. And now that I'm going to have to worry about the times I accidentally parry opponent, it just sucks, man. It sucks. There's nothing awesome or great about it, especially the last one. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so, so they explain the new kind of like point systems, how much more the new epic level buffs are gonna give to the teams. But here is the juicy part, obviously now. And I kind of like the way they did this, because now it doesn't really matter how high your prestige is. So long as you play Map 7 and choose the hardest difficulty, you're guaranteed 10% of a Tier 5 class catalyst every week. So that's 40% of a Tier 5 class catalyst monthly. So that's so much more than anybody would realistically earn in AW, for instance. Plus, obviously, we still get our rank rewards, plus we get our glory, plus we get our top milestone bonuses and all that stuff. So the increase, again, this pretty much makes those epic modifiers mandatory. Obviously, this increase is quite significant. So if you run all of the harder ones, you can get 10% Tier 5 class catalyst ones. Then it's 8%, then it's 6%, 4%, 2%, and then it goes to Tier 5 basic fragments. And this is where we were. This was the max before, I believe. 5,400 Tier 5 basic fragments was maximum we got in a week from these. Now changing 5,400 Tier 5 basic fragments to 10% Tier 5 class catalyst fragments is amazing. It's a huge increase for those who are able to do the hardest modifiers. And yeah, it's cool. Obviously these rewards increase, it's quite significant, and I do like the fact that it is not tied to anybody's prestige or ranking, and I think this is arguably the way forward for alliance quests, where these honor milestones realistically should get more significant in comparison to the rank rewards, because then at least it is not solely kind of like tied with how much money you have spent on the game and how lucky you have gotten with your prestige and where your alliance ranks there. So yeah, I'm definitely all kind of like for increasing the accent on these kind of like honor rewards and any other kind of like such type rewards. But that is about it. As here we can see, Also, obviously, we're going to be having the energy cap increased to 6, starting energy at 4, and energy timers reduced to 45 minutes. All of this goes live on July 12th. So that is our Alliance Quest mid-season update. Overall, when it comes to rewards increase, definitely like it. When it comes to mini boss change, I think it could have been done better. I think mini boss change is going to be quite painful for map 5 and map 6 especially, and map 4 as well to a degree. So there are definitely quite a lot of positives. Overall, I am happy the fact that they did this. I'm happy that we're going to have more tier 5 class catalyst fragments. At the same time, I'm quite worried because these new nodes are quite tricky, difficult. They are something that you need to always keep in mind. They will significantly alter the champions you can and can't bring in, and the attack strategies that you can and cannot use. And the one that just prevents you from parrying is flat out bad, in my opinion. There's nothing good about that defensive IQ modifier. But yeah, overall, I think it's a good change. Let me know what you guys think. How are you looking at it? Are you happy with this announcement? Are you not? But if you made this far in today's video, then obviously you deserve something. And what you deserve is a little bit less of me and a little bit more of this adorable green guy. So whilst you are mesmerized by the beauty that is Baby Yoda himself, why don't you go down to comment section, drop a comment, tell me what do you think about these changes. Will this make you more likely or less likely push Alliance Quest seriously? Additionally, hit that like button, hit that sub button, tell your alliance mates, tell your friends to come about, check the channel. Every single one of you joining helps. The more of you are watching me, the merrier I am. The merrier I am, the more videos and more streams we all can enjoy together. But yeah, that's about it for today, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. Have a nice day. See ya.